person of Senator Uche Kwenefe and the mover of this motion, Nigeria and its technological impact on Nigerian citizens. According to its proponents, 5G is the fifth generation of wireless communication technologies supporting cellular data networks, which mobile or cellular phone companies started deploying globally in 2019. It is lauded as the next leap in speed for wireless devices and aims to deliver data rates that are 10 to 100 times faster than the current 4G networks. The significance of this is that mobile devices will be able to send and receive information in less than 1,000th of a second, appearing instantaneous to the user. It is further reported that 5G networks will provide larger or wider connectivity bandwidth and low latency, which will lead to faster download speed of up to 10 gigabytes per second. As a result of the enormous bandwidth, 5G networks will not just be used for low bandwidth internet content, such as text, images, audio, and live videos. It will also allow the use of real-time applications such as TV broadcasting, gaming, autonomous vehicles, Internet of Things, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and the likes. However, just as the proponents of the 5G claim that the network of the best things that has happened in the global telecom world, there have also been widespread reactions against its deployment, especially as it borders on its probable negative health effects on humans. Claims and counterclaims have emerged on the possibility of the technology causing injury to human health. As a result, there were protests in various nations of the world, including Nigeria, and in some instances, violent demonstrations. The concern raised include increased cancer risk, cause of COVID-19, cellular stress, increase in harmful free radiations, genetic damages, structural and functional changes in the reproductive system, learning and memory deficits, neurological disorders, and negative impacts on general well-being in humans. These and other considerations bordering on human health necessitated the Senate, in fulfilling its constitutional responsibility and obligations, to mandate its four standing committees, as mentioned earlier, to thoroughly investigate the status of 5G network in Nigeria and its technological impact on Nigerian citizens. However, the Joint Committee could not immediately organize a public hearing due to the prevalence of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. As at the time it was referred, in the interim, the Joint Committee resolved to draw up a list of relevant stakeholders, and their memoranda concerning the motion was received pending a date for the hearing. Consequently, in partial fulfillment of our constitutional responsibility, as enshrined in Section 88 and 89 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and have scrutinized your various submissions for those who forwarded theirs much earlier. You must have been invited here today as relevant stakeholders to address the Senate on the content of your memoranda as submitted to the Joint Committee. Essentially, in line with the title of the motion as clearly stated in the letter requesting for memoranda forwarded to you in May 2020, you are expected, in addition, to have other relevant information to make your submission, taking the following details into consideration as they apply to your organization. 1. The current status of 5G generation network in Nigeria. 2. The state of Nigeria's readiness to deploy 5G networks. 3. The merit and demerit associated with the deployment of 5G network in Nigeria. 4. Your positions concerning the views of some scientists and medical experts that 5G is injurious to public health. 5. The likely negative impact of the deployment of 5G networks on the health of Nigerian citizens. 6. Result of the 3-month study trial conducted by MTN, which commenced in November 2019, and the spectrum utilized for the purpose. And 7. Evidence of environmental impact assessment, which regards to the installation of 5G in Nigeria, if any. Considering the worldwide controversy generated by the issue of 5G deployment, it is our responsibility as direct representatives of the Nigerian people to seize the opportunity of this investigative public hearing to bring major stakeholders together with a view to clearing the air on this issue for the greater benefit of Nigerians. It is my honor, therefore, to invite His Excellency, Distinguished Senator Dr. Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan, a PhD CON, to declare the public hearing open. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen of the press, let me start by thanking the Almighty God that we are today once again discharging a very important responsibility as a parliament of the people of Nigeria. And that task is holding this very important public hearing. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to this public hearing, and this is in consonance with my chairman, who had just welcomed you. This is a crucial event as far as we are concerned, that we hold this public hearing in the first place. This should have taken place much earlier, but due to the pandemic of COVID-19, it would have to happen today. It is even more important that we hold this hearing because of the controversial issue that the 5G network became. We all remember the surrounding disagreements, and the chairman had enumerated some of them, especially after or following the outbreak of the COVID-19. These controversies and disagreements require that we clarify these issues, not just from the government or the public sector, but also from the private sector. And we should do so beyond any reasonable doubt, as the lawyers may say. Concerns of citizens emanated from the limited knowledge of the virus for those that ascribe COVID-19 to 5G rather. 5G is supposed to be an improvement, an advancement in communication, at least. That is what we have been told by the experts. The speed and accuracy in the conveyance of messages and information are expected to be enhanced. The bottom line is to improve on humanity's dominance over nature, aside from the desire to ease living in a realistic and sustainable pattern. It was because of this that the Senate resolved in 5th May 2020 that this joint committee conduct this investigation in compliance with our desire to broaden knowledge on the innovation and, of course, have a very informed public policy and adaptation of the technology possibly. The essence of this hearing, therefore, is to investigate how the 5G technology would ensure the deployment of telecommunication services to our people and to enable us to stand on a better knowledge pedestal ahead of the possible deployment of the technology in Nigeria. Equally important to us as a Senate and indeed as a Parliament is that we only approve of this technology if the security and safety of our citizens are guaranteed. We are not going to be motivated by making money out of it. How secured and safe will our country and people be? So our motivation in the National Assembly is not the money that we attract. Ours to ensure that Nigerians get both advantages. If we have to adopt this 5G network, Nigerians must have their security not compromised and their safety not threatened in any way. We need to satisfactorily answer the question, is Nigeria ready for 5G technology? This public hearing should provide the answer to this very necessary and important question. And it's an opportunity for the experts to tell us that we are steward, that our security as a country will not be in any way jeopardized. And I hope that in this public hearing there are people from the security side. And I hope that those that see the 5G network as an improvement would also be here to argue the case. Ours is to gather and synthesize the diverse opinions and see which way is Nigeria, the citizens of this country, will get the best deal. A secured country, a safe people, and of course, an enhanced and better economy. I once again welcome you, and it is on this note that I declare this hearing open. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President of the Senate of the Federal Republic.
Hearing and crave your indulgence to add my voice to the subject matter of today. In the last 2 years, when the telecommunication companies advocated for the upgrade of their facilities from 4th generation to 5th generation mobile network technology, concerns have been raised by several groups and individuals over the hazards of the gadgets they human being. This postulation, of course, created skepticism in the minds of the people across the globe, especially in the third world countries, where many are battling with diseases with no known source. As Parliament, whenever issues associated with potential threats to survival and well-being of our people we represent arise, we consider such issues as matters of urgent public importance above all others. While we are mindful, the World Health Organization is still conducting health risk assessment associated with exposure to radio frequencies of 5G networks, with results expected to be published in the year 2022. We believe that NCDC should commence independent research on the public health impact of 5G network using the 1998 International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Standards. Therefore, in line with our social contracts the Senate, under the able leadership of distinguished Senator Dr. Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan, PhD, CON, prioritized the motion that led us to today's gathering, which I happen to be the mover of that motion. An uninformed society is a fertile breeding ground for rumors. Since the beginning of 5G conversations, the entire concept lacked proper awareness. The world we are living today has passed the stage of relying on speculations rather than on scientific proofs and evidences. Most of the memoranda received are pro-5G network because they are mostly from players in the telecom sector. Hence, this public hearing will provide the people the opportunity to air their opinion on the subject matter. In this forum and beyond, I therefore call on the independent scientists who have no vested interest in telecommunication to come out with reliable research results that can satisfy the consciousness of Nigerians on 5G network. On behalf of my colleagues, especially the members of the Senate Committee on Science and Technology, let me assure all of you that the decision we will take at the end of this public hearing will be based on practical facts that respect the well-being of our people, not based on rumors and speculations. At this point, I want to especially express my appreciation to Senate President for providing us this opportunity to interface with the public. And once again, welcome, and I wish everyone a fruitful deliberation. Thank you so much.
Isa Ali Ibrahim Fantami hereby affirms that the evidence I shall give in this public hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. All other protocols duly and respectfully observe. Good afternoon, and may peace, mercy, and blessings of the Almighty Allah be upon you. Firstly, I begin by appreciating the effort of the National Assembly, particularly the Senate, for organizing this public investigative hearing in order to come together and discuss about the impact of our fifth generation technology on our citizens in Nigeria. Furthermore, I also appreciate the opening remarks of the President of the Senate, distinguished Senator Dr. Ahmad Lawan, and the Chair of ICT and Cybercrime in his vote of thanks, and most importantly, that of the Chair of our Communications in her opening remarks. What they have said, I just want to confirm to them that they are on the same page with the executive arm of government under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. As they earlier informed us, our position in the executive arm of government under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, our top priority always is the security and welfare of our citizens, as has been in the Constitution of Nigeria 1999 as amended Section 14 under Article 4, Subsection 4, Article A and B, that the primary responsibility of government is the security and welfare of its citizens. This has been the position of the President. This has been our position in the telecommunications sector and in the entire digital economy family. Because of this, we are on the same page. Furthermore, what we have started doing in 5G as my position, Minister in charge of Communications and Digital Economy, based on the provision of the Constitution of Nigeria as my constitutional mandate, Section 147 and 148, we are only following our process of rule making and policy making. We are not yet there where we will deploy 5G, but definitely we are on track. And we are conducting the research, investigation, engaging stakeholders, and definitely, if all issues are addressed, the executive of government will support the deployment of 5G in Nigeria. Most importantly, we are not operating in silos. Nigerian telecommunications sector is part and parcel of the static group of United Nations, that is the International Telecommunications Union. As in the Nigerian Constitution Act 2003, under Section 23 as the power and function of the minister, under Article B, I am representing the federal government of Nigeria in International Telecommunications Union, where issues on technology and their impact on the world are being discussed. Also, Nigeria is a member of World Health Organization under the United Nations, and both of them issued their position based on the research conducted globally. There is a report of ITU, and here I will slightly disagree with the statement made by our respected sister, the chair, Senate Committee on Science and Tech, on that WHO could finish the research in 2022. WHO conducted their research on 5G, and this is what they have published, and its implication, if any, on health and security. So the report is ready. Respected chairman of our committees, I will just go briefly on behalf of the executive of government, most importantly under the ICT sector, and I am here accompanied by the EVC of NCC, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, DG Nidda Kashifu Abdullahi Inua, and MD NICHCOM Search, Dr. Abimbola Adale. If there is any issue that their intervention is required, with the kind permission of the committee, or rather the committees, I will ask them to come and contribute in a relevant place. This will make the presentation much, much easier, because the memo we submitted to the committee on the 29th of May 2020 is more of a joint memo. So usually we take decision through consultation, and we hardly submit independent memos. We only come together, discuss the issues, agree on the right position, and we usually submit our position whenever is required, officially and jointly. The issue of 5G in Nigeria, I will go through it superficially. That on 29th of August 2019, the Nigerian Communications Commission, as the regulator of telecommunications sector in the country, announced their intention to begin proof of concept trial in the country. My attention has been drawn to that, and immediately as the supervising minister, and also as enshrined in the Constitution of Nigeria, Section 147 and 148, as the constitutional power of the minister, and based on the provision of NCA 2003 Act, Section 23, I reached out to the EVC immediately about what they were planning, and he briefed me extensively, and I advised them to put the process on hold in order to invite more stakeholders to join the process. He complied with that immediately. We wrote a letter to so many stakeholders, including the National Assembly, to join the trial so that we can study everything together and we can come up with a position. So they put it on hold, and I directed NCC to write a letter to some institutions and other stakeholders, and I personally wrote to some institutions and stakeholders, at least 15 of them. I can recall that we invited almost all our security institutions to be part and parcel of the trial. I personally sent the letter to all of them. ONSA invited, the Minister of Defense invited also, the Office of Minister of Police Affairs invited, the Office of Minister of Interior invited, Inspector General of Police invited, DSS invited, NIA invited, Office of Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Defense Staff, Defense Intelligence, all these institutions were invited even before we have started anything. And NCC invited other stakeholders on behalf of us. And on the 19th of September, after contacting all stakeholders, the process of a trial to study the impact of 5G in Nigeria was approved by the federal government of Nigeria in some selected places. In Abuja, Kano, Lagos, Ibadan in Oyo State, Abeokuta in Ogun State, Calabar in Cross River State. In all these states, we organize a trial, and this is the process of a new technology adoption. You cannot just accept it the way it comes. You need to study it. And as we are studying the technology, international bodies like ITU, WHO were also studying it. Because of this, we invited all stakeholders, and on 25th of September 2019, we conducted the first trial of 5G in Nigeria. In order to demonstrate with all sense of humility, leadership by example, I personally did the trial. So if there is any security implication or medical implication, then ISA should be number one victim. And if there is any relationship with COVID-19, then I should be the first victim because I did. And I'm grateful to the Almighty. To date, I have never contracted the virus. And I did the test at least 9 to 10 times. I'm grateful to the Almighty. So I did the trial personally. So if there is any implication of other radiation, as many people allege, without knowledge, then I should be the number one victim. As the global practice, in that process of doing the trial, we remain very objective. Only the result of our investigation and contact will determine the position of the federal government of Nigeria, because we don't have anything to benefit from it. As we know, our constitution clearly states that our primary responsibility is the security and welfare, and that will not be compromised in any situation we find ourselves. The trial, the first trial here in Abuja was done on 25th of September 2019. As I said, I did it. Members of our committee in communications, both Senate and House, were represented physically. The images are available online. If you Google, you will discover all the images we snapped there while I was conducting the trial. Security institutions were all invited to join the meeting, and we did the trial. After the trial, usually, that trial is the proof of concept trial. And after the proof of concept trial, we gave the operators a maximum of 3 months to complete everything and submit a report, in which they did, and submitted a comprehensive report to the Nigerian Communications Commission as the regulator of the sector. NCC forwarded the report to me. We have our way and the stages of policy development at the national level. So it requires a lot of engagement. And because of this, we replied to NCC saying that we need to start the process of policy formulation, which could end up with the endorsement of President of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, GC Ebara. In all these stages, as a minister exercising the power of the President and appointed by him, or rather nominated by him, Mr. President is very much aware of all the stages we have been taken from the beginning to where we stop. After submitting the report to NCC, we also directed NCC to set up a committee that will engage more stakeholders. Part of the letter I conveyed to NCC with that on the 14th of February 2020 clearly stated that all stakeholders must be invited. And I gave some examples, like within the sector, like Alton, ARTCON, Nigeria Computer Society, environmental institutions, security institutions again, medical institutions. As part of that, NCC conveyed to them, and we published the invitation in national dailies, and the copies are available. All of them were invited. We started the process of engaging them as part of our national policy formulation as in NCA 2003 under Article 8. So now we have done a lot in that process. Part of what we have achieved is through that engagement, conducting research, attended ITU meetings, engaging ITU at the international level, WHO, even in the process here in Nigeria, WHO was invited to represent the global body. So the position where we are today is we have completed the significant part of our investigation and contact. We are in the process of compiling our final position, and most probably that final position will be in a form of a draft national policy which is going to be presented before the Federal Executive Council chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. It is after submission and presentation of the national policy, then we can come back and see how that can be implemented. If that policy is concluded, I am done with the majority of my responsibility. The remaining will be that of our NCC to ensure its implementation. As part of the implementation, they will come up with their own regulatory instrument. If there is any major observation raised, then that regulatory instrument will address it. Technology is not being deployed without regulatory instrument. It is the responsibility of that regulatory instrument to ensure that any negative effect is addressed. If there is any technology that is harmful, regulatory instrument will ensure that that has not been approved. If there is any required distance between towers or masts, that regulatory instrument will clearly state it, as usually is 10 meters. If there is need for any process to be conducted, that regulatory instrument will address. So the position we are now, we are almost at the final stage, and the final stage will require producing a draft national policy that will be presented before the Federal Executive Council for approval. And that policy will accommodate all the views that we have been collecting from all other stakeholders. However, as been asked by the President of the Senate here, is Nigeria ready for 5G? I was asked the same question when I appeared on the Channels television the day we issued a press statement when a theory was circulated that 5G related to COVID-19. That is on 4th April 2020. In that statement, we said federal government is neutral and very objective. And federal government will not do anything that will compromise the security or health of our citizens. It is in order to demonstrate that is why we have been coming up with so many policies that is improving the security, including NIN and SIM verification. The policy has been in place for over 10 years, but there wasn't any time that the policy is enforced but now. And this is part of the guidance of President Muhammadu Buhari to the sector, and this is what we have been doing. So now, Nigeria is ready for 5G. I would say based on what we have been doing, as long as we address the major challenges, then definitely we are almost ready. What we only need to do is to ensure that the process is completed. Secondly, whether it has any negative impact on our citizens. When it comes to health issues, our investigation here in Nigeria did not show any negative impact. When it comes to global position, as I said, this is a paper published by WHO. It is available online in their website, who.int. They clearly stated that to date, and after much research performed, no adverse health effect has been causally linked with exposure to wireless technologies. Health-related conclusions are drawn from studies performed across the entire radio spectrum. But so far, only a few studies have been carried out as the frequencies to be used. But so far, no any negative impact has been established. The research is ongoing. But for sure, the research they have conducted, there is nothing like that. The paper of our ITU is also here, which is another arm of United Nations. In that one, they also clearly stated that there is not any link between 5G and COVID-19. And there is no any relationship between 5G and any disease. The only issue being raised usually by people is about radiation. But people fail to realize that the radiation of 4G that we are all using here is more harmful than that of the 5G. That of 4G. The radiation of 4G, I'm using it here, and almost everybody has his phone here. That 4G on your phone is more harmful than the 5G we are anticipating. The radiation of microwave oven at home that our family cooks food for us is more harmful than that of the 5G. There is no doubt about this. The radiation of even the smartphone itself is even more harmful than that of the 5G. 5G is an advancement of 4G. That advancement reduces significantly even the strength of that radiation. So it is an advancement. New technology comes up in order to address maybe previous limitations or the limitations of the previous technology. 3G is an advancement of 2G. 4G is an advancement over 3G. 5G is an advancement over 4G. In addition, whatever we do, we usually have our predecessors. The most advanced nations today in the world, they all have deployed 5G. And they are more concerned in security and health safety of their citizens than the developing nations. There is 5G today in the US. There is 5G in the UK. There is 5G in Switzerland. There is 5G in South Korea. There is 5G in China. And today, China, the origin of COVID-19 doesn't have a single case of COVID-19. And they have already deployed 5G. And in Africa, there is 5G in South Africa. And there is 5G in Lesotho. The time that the theory started circulating in Nigeria in April, linking 5G with health issues like COVID-19, there wasn't a single case of COVID-19 in Lesotho, the entire country. So because of this, many countries have deployed it. And I want to assure this committee, this is normal. What is required is to complete the process of our consultation and research and come up with the draft national policy. That draft national policy should be all-inclusive. It requires all of us to be on the same page. And what I earlier directed NCC since in June last year is to continue creating awareness, because any new technology comes up with challenges. Mr. Chair, I want to inform you, when this mobile phone came to Nigeria, I was a lecturer at Abubakar Balewa University, lecturing at the Department of IT, Information Technology. I couldn't use mobile phone because I'm somehow conservative. I resisted. I was teaching IT, but I couldn't get it because there was a theory that there were many negative impact while using mobile phone. I couldn't use it. So the first time I obtained or I purchased a mobile phone was in 2004. I was compelled by the development to accept, but I couldn't at the initial stage. When street lights were to be installed in the UK in 1818, there was a very serious resistance from the citizens, saying that Almighty says in divine scriptures that He created day and night. If we allow street light to be installed, then we are converting day to be like night to be like daytime. So we are changing the creation of Almighty. So they resisted street light because of religious reasons. Today, if our predecessors will be brought out from their graves in the UK to see the advancement, they will not realize that this was the country they left. So because of this, this is the general perception, and it is our collective responsibility to join hands. We serve the same citizens, and we don't have any objection, and our priority is the security and safety of our citizens. And that is why we take some very hard decisions, like with SIM registration and high number. They are very hard and difficult decisions, but we remain very steadfast in spite of all challenges. Why? Because our priority is security and safety. And in whatever we do, that is our priority. So I want to assure this committee that we are not yet done, but we are about to complete the process. And if that is completed, I assure you, we will share the document with you so that you can look into it. And the document is going to be presented before the Federal Executive Council. And after that, we will convey the decision of the Federal Executive Council to the regulator, that is NCC, for a further action to be taken based on the decision taken by Mr. President. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for that insightful presentation. I guess you must have spoken for most of the people we invited, but the point is, because you
Dr. Bala Fakando, hereby affirm that the evidence I shall give in the public hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. I am Dr. Bala Fakando. This afternoon, I will be presenting our position, the position of the Office of the National Security Advisor on the 5G. I please seek the indulgence of the Honorable Senate Chairman on this joint committee to start on the existing protocol. Okay, I am the Director of Communications, Office of the National Security Advisor. The Office of National Security Advisor has actually made holistic assessment of the 5G network and also and current deployment in Nigeria. I will agree with the position of the Honorable Minister that we were contacted at the Office of National Security Advisor before the deployment of the initial trial, the 5G network. I can confirm that the trial has taken place, and from our assessment, that there has not been approvals or license to deploy such facilities, so that at least we can allay the fears of citizens. For the readiness to deploy the 5G, I'm going to be brief on all this. For the readiness to deploy the 5G in Nigeria, I think the Honorable Minister has given a detailed outline on that. I don't want to portray more. Also, the merits and demerits, I'll leave that for now. I'm going to talk about the national security concerns. We are aware, after about national security concerns, and position views of scientists and medical experts as well. Now, we are aware that the deployment of 5G will come with different types of equipment and all that. And so we understand that the stakeholders in the telecommunication industry will make effort to ensure that they upgrade their systems in order to meet up the new technology. But we are concerned about the deliberate vulnerabilities and backdoors within the 5G network equipment. That's one of the key concerns we have. This will make the infrastructure highly susceptible to eavesdropping, tracking, cyber attacks, military industrial espionage, and other malicious activities by foreign actors. Yeah, we understand that these are things that we put in place, particularly in the policy that the Honorable Minister is talking about, but I need to emphasize this so that at least the stakeholders in the telecommunication industry will understand where we're coming from, because the national security concern is concern for the Office of National Security and also Mr. President as well. In that guise, we are going to actually ensure on our own position, and we urge the Honorable Minister to carry the office along in the development of the policy, so that we could have a robust framework to take care of these areas. Now, in our assessment of the view on the scientists and medical experts on 5G injuries to public health, we've actually done our own assessment from the office. We've done our research. Also, we've sent our input to NCC on the 5G, our contribution to NCC on the 5G, and our assessment actually revealed that the reports of ITU and also World Health Organization is sufficient for now to actually give us that guarantee to go ahead with deployment of 5G, because all the insinuations, all the misinformation, I think for us so far, I think there are no hazards or any public health concern based on the reports we have heard and also the investigation and assessment that we've done. We've forwarded our detailed input to the committee, and I don't want to buttress on all these things, but I'll have to make some key recommendations based on all our assessment. We request the Senate Joint Committee to act to facilitate a far-reaching engagement to debunk misinformation on the 5G systems, create more awareness on the benefits of the technology, and sensitize the need to ensure critical information infrastructure is protected, also and other sectors, in order to enhance the activities of the economy. Also, we feel that particularly we request the Honourable Minister to consider an agency working group made up of the Office of National Security Advisor, NCC, NIPDA, and other stakeholders to be able to look deeply into a framework for this national security concern, so that at least the policy that's going to be developed to be very robust enough to be able to cater for these concerns. I think basically that's our own position. We are on the same page with
thank you very much. We have to take the next person, and thank you very, very much. And I would like to call on